it was just really clear to me that entrepreneurship was good and it helped. And that given that every day when people wake up, money is interacting with them just like air and water. It's part of the deal, you know? I just intuited and I knew like, okay, I have to figure this out. And I also am not going to plug into some other thing. So I'm going to have to figure it out for myself as far as entrepreneurship goes. And so that was, it has to be, it has to contain truth. Like, I think that, yeah, and I could go on at length about like transformational people, spiritual people, and how disempowered they are financially or disempowered they are vocationally in terms of the interface of their calling and money transaction. But basically, like, obviously money exists. I view money just like I would view like a knife, you know, so knives can be used as scalpels to do amazing surgical things, you know, and bring health and healing. They can be used in the kitchen to just like take something that would not be very fun to eat whole and cut it up and make it into an amazing food, or they can be used to harm, right? And money is the same way. It's an energy. It's like, it's gasoline, it's electricity, it's, you know, it's got power to it. And how I view most of the people in the transformational community when they're disempowered financially is basically they've decided, probably irrationally or not truly thinking about it, that what we want to do is have the people who aren't empowered spiritually have the most financial power. And we're going to just see how that goes. And I don't think that's a very smart experiment based on the available evidence. And so hopefully what's happening is the transformational people are realizing, actually, this is just another energy, another power, just like meditation is a power of consciousness, or, you know, gasoline or electricity or a knife. You know, these are all tools. And how do I want to be in relationship to the tools that actually affect life, you know?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting, the words that come up that have been coming up for a while for me are investment and divestment. And I think that, you know, I see a lot of people in this community, in the transformational community, seeing money as like the oppressor. Like, money itself is the oppressor, not the people who have the money who create the systems that oppress, but money itself is the oppressor. And so we're just not going to deal with that. We're just going to like come over here and do our own thing and try to be humble and try to, you know, I think I get a lot of the images of being a monk and just like, you know, receiving food from the village. Just like, I just want to live so simply. I just want to have the food. But that's not the time that we live in right now. You know, certainly there are still monks who live by donation, but for most of us doing this work, and there are many of us in the world doing this work, because we need many of us on board doing this work, we need actual money to pay for our mortgages and send our kids to school. And, you know, we need to be feeling abundant, because money is an amplifier, and money does have the ability to help us share the energy that we're bringing in a larger way. I noticed for myself that if I don't charge enough for my work, it's like it's dishonoring to the energy that comes through me that I give to other people. Because I no longer, you know, when I was living in New York and I was just a budding healer working at the co-op and starting my practice, I would get sick a lot when I would do my work, because I was just using my own energy to give to people. And I didn't have a way yet. I didn't have a system for myself to bring energy in from the universe or from my guides or from spirit. And now that I do, and I give that, and it's not me, I'm just like opening myself up to deliver this energy. If I don't receive energy back from the other person, then it's like not an even exchange, and it's not good for anybody, at least of all for me. So it's an interesting thing, a realization to come to. And I think a lot of people are there right now. So TPA is like kind of in this perfect position. And I know you work mostly with therapists who are like traditional therapists, but I do see some of the people in the community do stuff that's a little bit more on the fringe. How did you start working with therapists in the beginning?
So I left the co-op and came back to Nashville, and so I went to Stanford in the dot-com boom, and I decided not to study computer science. So I knew there was an unfinished piece there where I had to empower myself technologically as well. I came back and decided, okay, I'm going to become, like, I basically, like, the mantra I had was, I want to be the most useful person. Anyone who I meet, I can help. You know, I want to have such an array of useful skills that they're actually like applicable to where people are and what they need. And I kind of did this, and I went into like a deep musical monkdom. And then I also was deeply studying and learning sort of any skill sort of, and so I went top to bottom. I worked in IT, got a lot of skills on actually like running networks and things like that. And then web design, web development, marketing, coding, app development, all these different things. I just decided to dive into copywriting and traffic generation and conversion. And, just like went deep and wide as much as I could. I just wanted to be useful. And a therapist found me through an advertisement that I placed in Craigslist, actually. And like he had thought he'd been hacked. His website had been hacked for reasons of his own story, and he hadn't. It was just like a normal thing that happens when a little bot finds a website and tries to auto create a user that's not real, and he gets like a notification. Nothing's happened. You just ignore it. But he thought someone was hacking his site. But when I was working on the site, I was like, look, there's a lot of things here that we could improve. Is this working for you or not? And he kind of was clear that he wasn't really sure, which meant it wasn't working. Therefore, there was a lot of opportunity there. And so I just started working with him, helped him a lot. He referred me to another therapist, helped her a lot. She referred me to like 5 more therapists, helped them a lot. And it just kind of started flowing like that to where I realized, okay, I have this is clearly a need, and I have a system. I actually have like a step 1 through 10, we just do all this and it's working over and over and over and over and over for all these people. So that's where TPA came from. And from then it was just a matter of like productizing it and then delivering it, fully digitally and nationally. And then building a team around it and building, and of course, in any evolutionary process, all kinds of other developments happen, and the team itself started to grow and change the thing. And then new ideas came. The more clients we worked with, the more. And so we started with just mental health therapists, but yeah, now we work with a huge array of different types of people. Basically, anyone in the healing profession who's interested in taking their business seriously and wants to be empowered. If you have something that you do that people want or need, and you're willing to lean into the discomfort of like the money thing and the business thing and the technology thing, TPA is like perfectly positioned to like sort of shepherd, and with a lot of, I think, depth and heart and sort of understanding of the challenges. I understand the challenge around money as like what you were talking about, that it's an oppressor. I mean, I remember just basically like I felt that way. And then eventually I was like, okay, well, I guess I have to deal with this, like, okay. And I remember being like going through, it was almost like a mourning process of, like, oh man, no one's going to just swoop down and save me from this. It's like, I just have to actually deal with it. And yeah, particularly if you're an entrepreneur, the good news is that entrepreneurship at its core is about self-responsibility.